Another boatload of fragrances soon to launch. Have you guys been keeping up? Are you excited for anything special? There's a ton of new fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about today. Men's fragrances, women's fragrances, niche fragrances, designer fragrances, and of course, the launch of 7 new Fendi fragrances. I've kept those 7 after the outro, so it's a separate section, and I'm also going to air that separately as well. But a ton of new fragrances that are going to launch soon, and I'm going to discuss them all coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about brand new releases. Which ones are you excited for the most? Let me know. Put a comment down below. But yes, we've got a ton of new stuff here. Some really exciting, some okay. I'm curious to see what they do with it. But again, lots of niche, lots of designers, and of course, men's and women's fragrances here as well. I was actually going through lists on various websites, and of course, I'm also signed up to some newsletters that, notify me and things like that. So I'm, finding out about new releases that way. One that I'm excited about is XERJOFF's new LEVAR del Sol. I've been kind of, quiet with XERJOFF lately, but I want to circle back and get back on track and discover them. They are now selling them here in San Francisco at Neiman Marcus. Of course, they've been selling them at ZGO Perfumery for a long time, but Neiman Marcus has taken on the brand, and I'm really close to Neiman Marcus, so I'm always stopping there and checking them out. But LEVAR del Sol features notes of green notes, Oakmoss, lily, violets, orange, cardamom, musk, caramel, tonka, jasmine, apples, and rose. Something fruity, spicy, green, and mossy. I'm there. That one sounds exciting. But this next one also sounds exciting, although I haven't been happy with the flankers of this house's SPICEBOMB, flankers. VIKTOR and ROLF SPICEBOMB series. This one's called Dark Leather. A leathery take on SPICEBOMB, but does it really smell like SPICEBOMB, or is it a brand new release? It's black leather, tobacco, frankincense, cinnamon, black pepper, nutmeg. Yeah, it has tobacco, it has cinnamon. Those were prominent in the original release. So maybe this one smells like it, but going into that dark, smoky leather direction. Who knows? We shall see. If anyone's gotten their noses on any of the fragrances I'm talking about today, please put a comment down and let us know. But this next one is a house called New Notes. I did a video with Joe on the entire series, except for their Mimosa fragrance that just launched earlier this year. But now they have a new one, violet-focused fragrance called Bonbons à la Violette. It's candied violets, amber, cedar, mossy notes, vanilla, bergamot, orange, and jasmine. I do enjoy the fragrances of this house, and their Mimosa fragrance is quite nice. It's called Latte di Mimosa. I think that's what it's called. I'll have to talk about it soon, but I don't get a latte experience from it, but it's definitely really in-your-face mimosa. So I'm curious about Bonbons à la Violette. Their ads are always really fun. If you haven't been following this house on Instagram or anywhere, just check them out. They make some of the most unique ads for marketing, visuals for their fragrances. And of course, I just featured Caramello Vanilla in a mystery box number 3. But moving on to the house of EMANUEL UNGARO. I haven't spoken about this house for a while. This is a feminine targeted release created by Jerome Epinette, who does fragrances for Byredo Wilhelm Parfumerie. This is a really unique looking bottle, cosmic, featuring notes of mango, orange blossom, almonds, heliotrope, black currant, vanilla, tonka, musk, pink pepper, Bellini, and violets. Don't forget, Jerome Epinette also did Cherry Punk and Cherry Punk Extrait, so I like his fragrances quite a bit, and I'm very, very curious to see what he does with Cosmic. All right, up next, we've got a fragrance from Dias and Durga. What else is new, right? They constantly crank out fragrances. This is called GATEAU Blackout. I'm really, really excited about this one, extremely excited, but I have this strange feeling it's one of their limited edition releases. So it's created by David Seth Moltz. It's cacao, black cherry, pine, orris root, fire, vanilla, musk, jasmine, and incense. Sort of sounds like one of the Serge Lutens fragrances, Écrin de Fumée, with cherries and maybe flowers. But I'm really, really curious about this one. Is it a fragrance inspired by Black Forest cake? Kind of sounds like that too. But moving on to Mauboussin Star for Men. Now, Mauboussin does some really great fragrances. The fig one, the round black one. I forgot the name. It's a very French name. That is a great fig fragrance, a very green fig fragrance. I reported on it like several years ago. Sold out. Now it's back at the discounters. Get it. But this new fragrance called Star for Men sounds really, really exciting as well. White amber, saffron, patchouli, cardamom, incense, black pepper, vanilla, iris, and cedar. The bottle for this one doesn't look as cool as the bottle for the feminine version of this fragrance. And I'm still trying to get a bottle of the feminine version. And also the notes for the feminine version sound great too. I can't wait to get a bottle, and this one as well. And I really, really enjoy Mauboussin's fragrances. If you don't know much about this house, it's a jewelry house from France. And again, they've launched some really great fragrances, and I'm looking forward to Star for Men. If you've gotten your nose on it, do report on it. But moving on to the house of JUS, it's called Icy Fizz, created by Philippe Paparella Paris. It's Longjing tea, oak moss, lavender, citrus fruits, coumarin, black pepper, violet leaves. I actually smelled this earlier this year and also last year that they were preparing to launch this fragrance. It seems like a frosty, ice cold take on a fougere. So it did have a bit of a masculine leaning edge about it. As soon as I get my nose on it again, I'll report back. But I like the idea of it. Icy Fizz also sounds really nice for this name. And again, I think this will be great for summertime because it has that cooling effect. But moving on to the house of Robert Piguet, it's Fracas Eau Fraiche, created by Khalees Becker. It's jasmine, tuberose, gardenia, musk, sandalwood, bergamot, mandarin. It's an Eau Fraiche take on the original Fracas, which has been around forever. One of the original kind of bubblegummy tuberose fragrances. It's kind of gone through some reformulations, and it's not at its best right now, but it's still pretty popular, I think. I think women pull for it. But I'm quite curious to see what they've done with Eau Fraiche. Most likely they've modernized it and freshened it up and removed some of the stuff out of it. Because for modern noses, I think they prefer something not so intense with the tuberose that's in there. But if you've gotten your nose on it, let me know. Put a comment down below. All right, up next, we've got Sora Dora's Elop, or Wylop, created by Amélie Bourgeois, who I got to meet recently, by the way. One of my favorite perfumers. This is a fragrance for Sora Dora, which is now selling here in San Francisco over at ZGO Perfumery. This features notes of vetiver, sesame, almonds, tea, osmanthus, apricots, apples, vanilla, rosemary. I believe I got my nose on this one, but I can't remember it, over at Exxence in March. Also, if you caught my video with Les Eaux Primordiales with Amélie Bourgeois in it, she mentioned sesame is popular. Here it is in this fragrance. So like sesame is the it note or something. So it's in this fragrance. So I'm curious to get my nose on it. There was Janny from this house that I really enjoy. And now we've got Elop coming out. So next, moving on to the house of Gallivant, it's Nida. So it's a perfume created by Soisik Beaucourt. I don't know who the perfumer is. I haven't heard of this perfumer before. Mandarin, jasmine, cedar, incense, cardamom, tea, lilac, amber, violets, sunflower, tolu balsam, and patchouli. I did a video overview on the house. If you haven't caught that video, go catch it. It's with Joe. Doesn't feature their very last fragrance though, and now obviously it doesn't feature this one. They're launching a new fragrance if it hasn't launched yet. And the other thing with this house is the fragrances are all inspired by a city where you go to gallivant around and explore and things like that. But moving on to a long-standing series of fragrances for men from Azzaro called Chrome. This is Chrome Azure. I have a kind of a love for this series of fragrances for some strange reason. Every time I buy a new flanker, I'm a little let down from it, but I'm curious to check out the latest one because I remember I wore the original quite a bit way back in the mid-90s. So this is C notes, lavender, and bergamot. Not much notes listed. And also, I don't know how marine or sea are the C notes going to go. We shall see. But I always enjoy lavender and bergamot fragrances. But this next one's very exciting. I can't wait to get my nose on this next one. I've already reported on it when there wasn't much marketing material out there on it. This is Celine's Zuzu. Really, really excited about it. So the thing I want to say about Celine's fragrances, they don't ever report who the perfumers are. But somebody just recently mentioned, and I had heard from the grapevine, and also felt like the fragrances were previously done by Givaudan perfumers, because I know Quinton Biche came to mind. But somebody just mentioned that they're no longer working with Givaudan on this fragrance. They've moved on to IFF. I don't know. But I have a feeling that the reason they don't put down the names of the perfumers is they want to highlight the creative director over at Celine, Hedi Slimane. So the notes for Zuzu are vanilla, tonka, musk, labdanum, benzoin, patchouli. Very, very exciting notes. Seems like an amber with vanilla, tonka, musk, labdanum, benzoin. They don't have anything like this, although they have black tie, which is a vanilla. Everything from their previous releases has a very cohesive DNA, and seems like one person made all the fragrances because they do smell alike. You can go from one to another and you notice the DNA. So we'll see how Zuzu is. Is it going to change in any way? Not reminding us of the previous releases. If you've gotten your nose on Zuzu, I believe it's already out in France. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure though. But if you have gotten your nose, put a comment down so I can find out. So the next fragrances, we've got two brands, a series of fragrances. The first one is the Mont Blanc collection. Have you gotten your nose on these fragrances? I don't know where they're selling currently. We don't have a Mont Blanc store here. Maybe they have them there. I'll have to check them out. But there's 4 fragrances in this, the Mont Blanc collection fragrances. And the first one is Black Meisterstuck, created by Jordi Fernandez, vetiver, amber, and incense. I believe Jordi Fernandez created one of the recent flankers of one of the fragrances from Mont Blanc recently. So he's creating this one. It sounds like an amber, woody, smoky fragrance with which note is more prominent, I don't know. But I do enjoy Jordi Fernandez's fragrances. But also, let me tell you guys, I have gotten my nose on a fragrance that is created by Jordi Fernandez from a brand I've spoken about. I can't really mention it. It's not really publicized yet. But man, that fragrance is going to be explosive. It's super amazing. So I can't wait to report on this fragrance. I got a preview of it last year, and I got more preview of it this year. It's a Tonka fragrance, and it's super potent and amazing. I'll have to report on that once the actual announcement happens, but I'm curious to see what this Mont Blanc Black Meisterstuck is all about. Next up, it's Mont Blanc's Extreme Leather. This is a fragrance created by Juliette Karagozoglu from IFF. Jordi Fernandez is from Givaudan. This is musk, leather, and orris. Okay, we'll see how it is. Is it going to go into a DH, Dior Homme kind of a direction? We shall see. But the next one, and I'm really excited about, is Mont Blanc's Patchouli Ink, created by Fabrice Pellegrin. It's patchouli, vanilla, ink, and bergamot. Kind of exciting, right? With the ink. I'm curious about this one. There must be some freshness with the bergamot, though. And then finally, it's Mont Blanc's Vetiver Glacier, created by Nathalie Lorson. So it looks like they went to 3 different, firms. Firmenich for 2 perfumes, IFF for 1, and Givaudan for another. And this is a Nathalie Lorson created fragrance. It's vetiver, sandalwood, and juniper. Is this going to smell like Encre Noir? Because, Nathalie Lorson created all the Encre Noir flankers. We shall see. But I'm excited to get my nose on these ones. My most excited one is Patchouli Ink. And I enjoy Fabrice Pellegrin's fragrances. God, he's getting a lot of fragrances done recently. A lot. He did a bunch for Infiniment Coty fragrances. He's busy. Last but not least, we have 3 fragrances from Orabella. Fragrance line launched by Bella Hadid, who is a model. I'm sort of curious about these. They are targeted to women, but I'm curious what she's done with them. But I'm not really liking the concept. They seem to be on the oily side, and you're supposed to shake them and it mixes together. Then you're supposed to spritz them, but they do separate in the bottle, it says. I haven't got my nose on them, so I don't know anything about them. One of them sounds really exciting. These weird kind of concepts with fragrances don't last too long, as in the hype dies down and then I don't know what happens. So I don't know how this brand is going to do, especially with this special kind of concept. So is it here to stay? We don't know, but Bella Hadid is pretty popular on Instagram. She's got a huge following, so I'm sure it'll be fine. The fragrances are all created by Clement Gavari, who is a perfumer at Firmenich. The first one's called Blooming Fire. It's cedar, manoi, jasmine, patchouli, bergamot, cardamom, and clove leaf. The one I'm really excited about is Salted Muse, Olive Tree, Lavender, Fig, Sandalwood, Cedar, Amber, Sea Salt, and Pink Pepper. Finally, Window to Soul, Damask Rose, Tonka Beans, Lemons, Geranium, and Mint. Let me know if you've gotten your nose on them. I know they're carried over at one of the Beauty Ulta, I believe, is got an exclusive thing for happening with these fragrances. They're also not extremely pricey, so I'm curious to get my nose on them. I'm not holding my breath. They seemed a bit not necessarily really niche, but like I said, Salted Muse sounds great, but the whole, special concept with fragrances is kind of a turnoff for me. I just want a spritz and go kind of a thing, right? I want the big cloud, and these don't sound like they're going to be really big fragrances. They seem like on the oily side, and you got to shake it and mix the thing together and then wear it. I don't know, but let me know. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, and if you guys have a better understanding of them when you've tried them and everything, put a comment down below. But those are the last 3 fragrances I'm talking about. I'm still excited to check the Orabella fragrances out, but anything that requires something special kind of turns me off, so we'll see how they are. But either way, let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Is anything sounding really exciting to you? Put a comment down below so I can find out. Did I miss something? I know there's always something new coming out, so we'll stay tuned for the next video like this and I'll report on it. But don't forget, I'm talking about the Fendi fragrances next. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Okay, now on to the Fendi fragrances. Are you guys excited for the Fendi fragrances? I am, but the price tag is pretty high. I mean, the price tag for all fragrances is way high now. So 7 Fendi fragrances are launching on June 20th, according to the Fendi website. They actually have a place where you can go put in your email address to be notified when they're launching. I did that, and I found out the price online from searching because they didn't have the price posted on the Fendi website. Now, I've been waiting for the Fendi fragrances to launch for a long time. I knew that they would launch eventually because, LVMH did it with Louis Vuitton in 2016. They did it with Celine in 2019. And now they're doing it with Fendi in 2024. 5 years after Celine. So 3 years between Louis Vuitton and Celine. So do they have any other brands that might be launching? But while I was doing research on these fragrances, I also found out that L'Oreal is launching a Maison Valentino, like the higher end Valentino fragrances as well. Those were announced in February and I didn't even know about it. But we're sticking to Fendi right now. I'm excited for these fragrances. And according to my research, the fragrances are all created by either Anne Flippo, Fanny Ball, and Quinton Biche. So I looked up the fragrances online. Only one has the name of a perfumer, and it was Quinton Biche. I don't know who all the rest of the perfumers are. So I'm assuming since this is a brand spanking new announcement, the information is not posted everywhere. But according to the article I read, the fragrances are either of these 3 perfumers. Man, Anne Flippo is getting a lot of work lately, isn't she? So let me read you a little article. Fendi launches Fine Fragrance Collection. The 7-piece collection has been created with the perfumers Anne Flippo, Fanny Ball, and Quinton Biche. Fendi is adding a fine fragrance collection to its lineup. The 7-piece range includes scents such as Perchenot, with notes of sandalwood and pink pepper, as well as La Baguette, named for the iconic Fendi bag, with notes of iris and vanilla. It will be available in boutiques and the brand's e-commerce site from June 20, with each scent priced at $330. So most likely they're going to have a 100 ml for $330. Like they do with Celine and Louis Vuitton, and they'll have a larger bottle for, not exactly double the price, but like 3/4 of the price higher or something. The scents are inspired by different members of the Fendi family, as well as by Kim Jones, the fashion house's artistic director. The LVMH-owned Fendi has previously offered fragrances in wholesale retail, but this is the first time fragrance will be available to purchase in its own stores. We have a Fendi store here, and I will go check and see if they're going to be selling here as well. Fragrance is a buoyant category, and the expansion of fine fragrance allows brands to further premiumize and differentiate their offerings from those sold in mass retail. In February, L'Oreal announced it would launch Haute Parfumerie for Valentino, while Celine launched its first new fragrance since 2022 in April. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Celine Zuzu. I'm excited for it, and we'll see when it comes out. Although The Celine launched a cologne last year, like a cologne style fragrance. So it's not really the first fragrance since 2022. According to the article is wrong. So let's go over the fragrances real quickly. The first one is, again, I don't remember the perfumers attached to it until I get to the last one. These are in alphabetical order. Fendi Casa Grande, leather, cherry, and amber. Man, cherry's getting around, right? Is the cherry trend dead yet, or it's just still thriving along? I haven't seen cherry in a luxury, high-end collection of fragrances. Hopefully it's not going to be like, well, of course it's in Tom Ford, but that's different. This is more sophisticated luxury, I would assume. But I don't know, we'll see how this is. I like the idea of cherry and leather, but then again, we already know that from Cherry Punk and Cherry Punk Extrait. Hopefully it's not going to be like a dupe or copy of that. I really love that Cherry Punk Extrait, one of my favorite fragrances from Room 1015. So that's Casa Grande. Next is Ciao Amore. So it's fig leaves, fig fruit, tonka, and orange blossom. So both Anflippo and Fanny Ball do great work with white flowers, whereas Fanny Ball does a lot of great work with all kinds of white flowers, but Fanny Ball does really great work with orange blossom and neroli. So I'm trying to figure out who did what. I can't really figure that out. But Ciao Amore sounds good. I like the idea of fig fruit, the leaves and the fruit, and of course orange blossom. It just sounds like a summertime fragrance that's going to be really great to wear, going green and fruity, and of course citrus floral as well, white flowers. The next one is Dolce Bacio. It's rose and apricots, it says for the notes. So fruity, floral. I mean, they all sound great. They don't seem complex. Hopefully there's going to be some complexity. Whereas Louis Vuitton, when they launched their fragrances, they did with Jacques Cavalier. I was mentioning in another video that Celine never publicized their perfumers, and I had a feeling that it was a Quinton Biche or a Givaudan perfumers, but they never really publicized it. But I had the strange feeling it was Givaudan. So they never, I don't know why they kept the perfumers from publicizing it. Here, they don't have an in-house perfumer, but they are publicizing the perfumers, but they're going to different firms, which Givenchy, which is also under LVMH, used all Firmenich perfumers for their La Collection Particulière fragrances, their higher-end collection of fragrances. So we'll see how these are, whereas Givenchy is sold at Nordstrom and things like that. They are sold at department stores. Louis Vuitton is not. Celine is not. You have to go to their stores. So most likely the Fendi is going to be very similar. But you know what? Dolce Bacio sounds a bit boring to me, honestly. It doesn't sound complex. Where's the bass note? It just seems like a top and a heart note, basically. But next, Fendi's La Baguette, which apparently it's named after their bag. It's white leather, white iris, and vanilla. This one sounds really fun, doesn't it? It sounds great. Is it kind of like a Jerome or something? I can't say every single iris fragrance is Jerome, but with the addition of white leather and vanilla, kind of sounds like it could go into the Jerome intense direction. But we shall see. And also, I don't know if these fragrances are going to lean feminine or masculine. Most likely, these are going to be unisex. We shall see, because all the Celine fragrances are unisex. Let me know which one sounds really exciting to you so far from the fragrances I told you about. And who do you think did those fragrances? Is it Anflippo? Is it Fanny Ball? Is it Quinton Biche? Are you fans of these perfumers? Let me know. Put a comment down below. So the next fragrance is Perche No. Pink pepper, pine tree needles, woods, and sandalwood. This one to me sounds like a Quinton Biche creation. We shall also see how many did each of the perfumers do. There's 7, and there's 3 perfumers. But with the Charlotte Tilbury fragrances, which I'm going to report to you guys about in a few days, 4 out of 6 were done by Anflippo, and then the other 2 were done by 2 different perfumers. But anyway, so this Perche No sounds really great to me. I'm curious to get my nose on it. Anything with pine tree needles, I love. I hope it smells good. We'll see. But the next fragrance is Prima Terra. It's moss, rosemary, and orange. This one sounds like it's either Anflippo or Fanny Ball. We shall see. But this one also sounds good. I'm excited that the usage of moss is coming back, but it's that kind of like very, very minute percentage of the amount of the oak moss is being used. You can't really use the whole thing anymore, which doesn't really smell like the original. It smells, I guess, a cleaned up version of it, but it doesn't act like the original, you know, oak moss. But yeah, this one sounds pretty good to me. We shall say it just seems like a very freshy though. Moss in the base, rosemary in the heart, and of course orange in the top notes. And then finally, the fragrance that mentioned the perfumer, and it is Quintambiche here. It's Sempre Mio. Lemons, bark, and orange blossom. This one sounds more like it would be one of the other perfumers unless the database was wrong. But of course, I'm curious about this one. I love lemons in fragrances. And the bark note, I haven't seen bark come up in fragrances before. And of course, I really enjoy orange blossom. So those are the 7 different fragrances from Fendi. Do they sound great to you? What are your thoughts on them? Which one sounds good to you? To let me know. If anybody's gotten their nose on these, I doubt anybody has, but there's always possibilities that people have gotten their nose on them or noses on them from previews and things like that. Do put a comment down below so I can find out. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. I'm excited for the new Fendi fragrances. As soon as I get my nose on them, I will report back. Hopefully the store here, the Fendi store here, will have these and I can, you know, check them out and report back very soon, or ASAP, because they launch on June 20. But as I said, if you've put your nose on them, please let me know. Put a comment down below. Other than that, thanks so much for watching and stay tuned for another video soon. Bye-bye.